You can't have your views accepted always. National Cathedral Board of Trustees tells Bishop Doug Hayward Mills. Now, infighting has started there as well. Antagonizing the middle class could have grave consequences for NPP. Dr. Asa Asante is saying, and that is all to do with that debt exchange. Finance Ministry sets out committee to engage individual bondholders. They always put the cart before the horse instead of the other way around. Alright then, so Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, police officers arrested a fake doctor who accused some officers of planting weed and cocaine in his car. It's one of the stories making the rounds there as well. Let's move on straight to other parts of the world as well. Okay, former moderator resigned from National Cathedral Board due to ill health. A Presby check former moderator has resigned due to ill health. Okay, is it that people are trying to quit now, thinking that okay, I wouldn't say the rest. All right then. Now let's move on straight on. When it comes to some of the stories making the rounds in Nigeria, well, I did touch on a couple of them. Tinubu, I will take care of Igbos like Buhari is doing. Now, how has Buhari taken care of the Igbos? The way they are treating them, the way they are going down there, doing all sorts. Is that how he's going to, where he's not engaging them, where he has got the IPOB leaders still incarcerated? Is that what they are, he's saying that they are going to, treat the Igbos? Well, that's what Omahi is saying. And then, well, Nigeria bad belly thwarted Abiola's presidential ambitions, says Obasanjo. I'll be telling you more about that. The former president Olusegun Obasanjo has said the acclaimed winner of the country's June 12, 1993 presidential election, the late Chief MKO Abiola, would have emerged as the nation's president, but for what he described as Nigeria's bad belly. That is jealousy. Okay, we'll be telling you more about that once we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki on. IPOB proscription. Kano sues federal government and Southeast governors on that one as well. The detained leader of the Indigenous people of Biafra, Kano, has filed a lawsuit against federal government for labeling the separatist group a terror organization. But the question is, even if the courts decide that, look, that is not right, will they adhere to it? We've seen rulings from the courts, and the government have decided to just forget about it. We are a law to ourselves. So what do you think is going to happen there? And then the Labour Party campaign The Labour Party campaign has defended Obi's plan to dialogue with IPOB and Yoruba Nation agitators. Because, as I did say, why would somebody living in a big mansion where there is everything decide that I want to live? Unless, of course, though they are living there, they are not getting anything. They are not enjoying anything on that front. So, is it wrong for the Labour Party to say that, look, if we happen to win the election, Obi is going to be sitting or having a dialogue with these groups who are agitating to leave the country? What do you think about all that? More going to be coming your way. One other story, and then we can take a music break, and then we'll wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to hop in. Now, gold defense leveling up cash for Southeast. Labour says Northeast England is one of the big losers from the latest funding to boost deprived areas. Now, King Charles to divert windfall to public good. The king wants to cut the royal slice of Crown Estate profits, which are rising after a 1 billion wind farm deal. And the father has issued a plea for mom missing with a newborn. Napier Martin told his estranged daughter, Constance, he is deeply concerned for their welfare. Well, some of the stories making the round. An illegal vape top threat says trading standards. Well, and we know that the kids have started using that. But what do you think? And Dover Calais ferries suspend due to French strikes. These are the stories making the rounds. Let's take a musical break. Once we come back, we should be having Mr. Olayomi Koiki joining in. But let's say good morning to Miss Gold. How are you doing? He says, good morning, White Lion and Mr. Archie. Good morning to you, Miss Gold. Let's enjoy this song from the late Sami Opuso. And he says, what gratitude. Enjoy it, and I'll be with you.
don't know how to explain it. But it's like saying there is nobody, nothing between nothing and anything between nothing.
Oh, my apologies for that. I think that's not the that me, but enjoy this one. This one is from Denzel Prepper. He said, and I'll be with you.
Alright? I don't know how to, but I know how to do this with my legs. Alright? Come on. Come on. That's it.
This is Starr Radio.
I'm not sure why we are having a bit of technical problem this morning. So if we might just have just the image alone this morning, and later on I will resolve the other problem we're facing. Once again, a very good morning and welcome to all those of you that have joined us this morning on the morning program. A very, very good morning once again. Bear with us this morning.
What? You guys can do us a massive favor. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages as well. There is nothing that God can do. I am Starr Radio UK, 7 minutes past the top of the hour at a time. The morning show, the program, of course. And you know, I have in our midst the one and only Mr. Mr. Olayomi Koiki. In our midst, the North London studios, where it's going to be bringing you all that you need to know when it comes to the news or the updates from Nigeria. So stay tuned, don't you go away. Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. And let me say, yummy, massive good morning to you.
A very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning to Frank. Good morning to all the rest of the team on the ground. And I say welcome once again to the Thursday edition. It is exactly 88 minutes past 11. 19th of January is just come past, half of the month. And we continue to pray for the new month for those that are going through all kinds of difficulties. But we are here to make it easy for you as we are now countdown to the February election, as is part of the most important part, as a lot of Nigerians, a lot of the diaspora, a lot of the indigenous people, stay tuned here. You will get every update that needs to be heard. But for now, I return back to you in the studio, and I say once again a very good morning. Sorry for joining you a bit late this morning.
Yes, we know that Yomi is a busy person, and I tell you all the time that before we bring any stories to you, we have to authenticate it. So therefore, he goes back behind the scene, trying to make sure that we are bringing you the right stuff. But well, I hope that you didn't miss out on the Niger Voices yesterday, and those who missed out, well, I'm going to give Yomi some time. It's going to tell you briefly about what was discussed, and then you will know. But if you missed out, that took place yesterday, and you get everything that you need to know. But before then, Prince Abimbola today. Good morning to all the crew of Starr Radio UK and everyone listening. Good morning, Prince. I hope you're having a lovely day. So, Yomi, let's straight go to the discussions yesterday. Looking at how many days now, it's going to be about 26 days more for the election. As whether the election is going to hold, whatever is going to happen to it, we're not very, very sure about it. But how was the discussions yesterday on the Niger Voices?
Yesterday, took us through a very important day in the history of a discussion that we've never had. I remember as we were getting ready for the last election that this government is going through, which is going to be winding down. We were preparing ourselves to travel down home, for that event. But this time around, let's fast track. The difference between, 2019 and now is that we now have the Yorubas that have also joined the Biafra. The Biafra agitation, kickstart just around 2017. So literally 2 years after, the 2015 election. So that means the Biafra probably knew ahead in time that Nigeria was not working for them, and there was a lot of sensitization, a lot of campaigning, to leave Nigeria. But the Yorubas have joined them. So now we have three set of people that are going into the 2023 to decide their fate, whether the country that, has made us what we are, some people will say, or the country that has not made us what we are meant to be, as the indigenous people will remain in Nigeria. And this has been the question mark. So yesterday on Niger Voices, if you've missed that, you would definitely have to go back onto the Starr Radio UK platform for you to watch and listen to everything that happened during that program yesterday. It was a fantastic one. There was a lot of people that still believe that we can still do this without any kind of bloodshed. It has been done before in some countries around the globe, but in Nigeria, we are not too sure. So as the review yesterday was, should there be an election this year, or should we be thinking about the dissolution of the country? The politicians are continuing their campaign as the campaign goes through every other state. We've been following them as well. Atiku was in Ekiti State, Tinubu was in Ilorin, Kwara State, and Peter Obi just traveled back from UK back to Nigeria on the ground again in Kaduna. And Peter Obi actually said something that was coincident, to what was promised, by the current ruling party, which is APC, and that is Peter Obi was telling the Kaduna supporter yesterday that I will secure Nigeria and I will also unite Nigeria. I'm not too sure if that is going to happen, but we did got those kind of promises when APC were coming in, at the next level, they change, and 8 years down the line, President Muhammadu Buhari and the Vice President Yomi Osibajo has been one of the worst government that Nigeria has ever come through. As of today, the exchange rate is 920 naira. But in Ilorin, we also saw that there were a lot of bread being given out to those that came for the campaign. This morning, Atiku is heading to Oyo State, which is the southwest Nigeria. And according to our team on the ground, if you are part of the Motor Park, PDP owns Oyo State, out of the remaining southwest. So, there's a lot of, campaign, even though the G5 governors, Wike is part of that in Rivers State, Oyo State governor is there. They are not literally endorsing yet Atiku. So the question is, as 37 days left now, how is it going to be that Atiku takes the campaign to Oyo State, but the Oyo State governor does not feel comfortable as Atiku is becoming, taking his campaign as as the presidential aspirant. So, but again, we have the word of encouragement, from Professor Adebanji Akintoye yesterday as well, that says to the Yoruba people, there is not yet any failure in terms of, the quest and the campaign for those that want the right to self-determination. And the fight must continue regardless of, what you feel. He actually spoke after the aftermath of what took place in Lagos State when, we were bulldozed out of Lagos State by the Lagos State governor and eventually led to the death of, some of the comrades there and a lot of injuries as well. Professor Akintoye says it's still work in progress. The job continue. All these was part of the discussion yesterday on Naija Voices. You can watch it, and I'm sure you will have your own contribution. Once again, this is Starr Radio UK. It is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. And I say good morning to those of you that have joined us from around the globe.
Yes, listeners, that was what took place yesterday on the Naija Voices. And as Yomi said, if you did miss that, please go on to Starr Radio UK, whether YouTube or Facebook or social media platform, and it's there. Just go listen to it. It will equip you. Knowledge is power. Okay. Now let's move on to one story before we come to what you have put down. There was a couple of them, but Peter Obi promised one thing, and he's saying that, well, that's what the Labour Party are saying, that he's definitely going to be doing that. He's looking at, the Yoruba and the Igbos who are agitating to leave the country, and he's saying that, look, given the opportunity, if I become the president, I'm going to bring these groups to the table so that we will talk. And as I was introducing the program, I was saying that nobody who lives in a mansion, a big house, where they are given everything that they need, they are not being maltreated, will say that I want to leave. Somebody who is there, if you say they want to leave, it's either their rights are being trampled upon, they're not getting whatever they're supposed to get, anything that, no. My best bet is to leave. And therefore, he thinks that, well, if I'm able to bring this people to the table, then there is a tendency that we will be able to iron out whatever is going on. How true and how has the both groups, that the Yoruba and the Igbos, taken this particular promise by Peter Obi?
Well, I'm not sure how this is literally going to work, especially, remember that, the Biafra and the Yorubas are not looking to be part of Nigeria. I mean, if we're talking about people campaigning for restructured Nigeria, Ohaize is the best people, that will probably, be excited that, a new Nigeria can happen. Afenifere will be happy for a new Nigeria. And these two social cultural groups are literally also endorsing Peter Obi as their candidate. Maybe they've had an indoor conversation that they couldn't get from somebody like, APC and PDP to guarantee the restructure of Nigeria to what Nigeria used to be, after, the independence that eventually led to the 5 million people that were killed by the federal government in the genocide of the 1967 up to the 1970, war in Nigeria. And just after that, but Peter Obi still believes that, maybe, just maybe, he might put some kind of structure, should he become the next president, that would literally entice as many Yorubas and the Biafra and the Middle Belt that we also talk about, and then will allow everybody to remain in Nigeria. All these is still a question mark. That is if Peter Obi becomes the president. Remember that there's a lot of youth that believe that the whole cargoes must be pushed aside, just as Obasanjo have said as well. And the new brain might come in, even though part of the new brain has also been part of the politicking in the past. Peter Obi was a president, was the governor of Anambra State. How is he going to unite Nigeria? How is he going to do all such would determine if he becomes the president in the first place.
Well, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But interestingly, one other story that is troubling, it pertains to what Governor Dave Omahi is saying. And he's saying that, look, when Tinubu win the election, he's going to treat people the way Buhari is treating them. And that means, if you look at the way Buhari is treating the Igbos, I don't think he's treating them fairly at the moment, because if he is, then what is happening to Nnamdi Kano and all the others wouldn't be happening. So what is he saying? Is he just taking a stand that, look, we are going to crack down on the Igbos? Is that what Omahi is trying to say?
Well, the politicians are very funny. Tinubu says he's going to continue from where Buhari stopped. So definitely he will be taking the kid gloves, And this is where the Yoruba people are very, very concerned that, should we not do what has to be done now, in terms of the right to self-determination? Even though Tinubu is from the Southwest as a Yoruba man, a lot of the Yorubas are not comfortable in terms of Tinubu becoming the president. He has a lot of bags on his head in terms of, so many allegations upon allegation. But one that we can talk about is, he was actually, indicted for drug in the United States of America. Money that is got to link to drug was found in his account, and it was actually, those were confiscated. But the question in terms of the right to self-determination, is Tinubu going to give us the kind of, room that we have got since, Buhari has been in government? Remember that Lagos State has not allowed any kind of protest, even though Lagos State is a Yoruba land. The Biafra continue to agitate. We are not sure whether Tinubu becoming the president, again, that is if Tinubu gets there, as we continue to monitor the situation on the ground. But the question is, should Tinubu become the president, are we going to see a fair judicial system, which Tinubu should have convinced the APC government that is currently as a leader in that party to allow Nnamdi Kanu, to be allowed to go freely, even though he has been acquitted? And yet, all this is part of the question that will need to be asked if any of them become the president. But we are not sure whether it's going to happen or not. We just have to wait and see.
Wait and see how many days more, and then we'll see what is going to happen there. Adesanyo Sanwu Bolugan says, good morning to you, Mr. Archie and Mr. Olayomi Koiki. God bless you both. God bless you too, Adesanyo. I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very, very much. Let's come to one other story pertaining to a past election. And this time around, coming from the former president, Obasanjo, and he said that it was envy that stopped Abiola from emerging as a president. The man won the elections, and the next moment he said, if you, the election has been annulled, and if you come into the country, he was out of the country. They say, come back to the country, you'll be arrested, blah, blah, blah. He was incarcerated. The next moment, he died in incarceration as well. So what is Obasanjo talking about there?
Well, Obasanjo is a two-man that speaks with different voice depending on which side favors him. Let's remember that the late Chief MK Abiola died on the July 8, 1998, and that literally triggered a lot of protests across the Southwest, especially for someone that won the freest, the most fairest election that has ever been conducted in the history of Nigeria. Whether you are from the northern part of Nigeria, people voted for him, the late Chief MK Abiola. Whether you are from the Igbo, people voted for the late Chief MK Abiola. Or whether you are from any other part, they were all voting for him. But somebody was not comfortable. He's currently now in Germany, ahead of the election, and to be safe away from Mina is Hilltop. And I'm talking about the former dictator, that also has the hand in the death of the Delegiwa that was bombed with a parcel bomb, in 1986, for allegation of the wife of the then, military dictator Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, for drug, moving around from Nigeria to Europe. But Babangida believed that, the election was done, but there was no reason for him to allow election result to be, to proceed. And eventually that election was annulled. MK Abiola declared, in Ekpetedo in Lagos State, the rest is history. It was picked up, Babangida stepped aside. He never resigned. He never retired. He just stepped aside, maybe thinking that he's going to use his Maradona skill and come back as a civilian. There was an interim government, believing that would hand over power to Abiola. Eventually, that didn't happen as well. Then what then happened? Abacha came in. And again, Abacha decided he was not going to allow MK Abiola to go. Abacha died in that process. Abdul Salam came through. There was just so much. But today, the former president, Olusegun Obasanjo says, envy stopped Abiola from emerging president, says Obasanjo, according to the headline. The former president, Olusegun Obasanjo, has said that he became who he is today due to the moral virtues and the sound education impacted on him by the Baptist High School, Abeokuta in Ogun State. I'm not sure that kind of virtues and the moral is there anymore. But apart from him, Obasanjo also stated that the school shaped others such as the late, Sag Obafemi Awolowo and the winner of the June 12 presidential election, MK Abiola, and the former judge of the International Court of Justice, Bola Ajibola, among others. Obasanjo was actually saying this yesterday in Abeokuta while he was delivering a lecture. You are our epic at the centenary celebration of the school. But again, there's just too many atrocities that have gone wrong in Nigeria today, and history will remember each of these leaders, dead or alive.
Well, dead or alive, they remember them. And how is posterity going to get there? Let's see. More coming your way from update from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our Northland studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. If you're on any of our broadcasts, share your take with us, post your comments, and I promise you one thing that we're going to share it. But before we go to some of the other stories, now, fuel scarcity bites harder. And when I hear stories like that, my heart breaks. My heart breaks. Because if it is a country where they don't have, they don't have crude oil, I'll say, oh, different, because they have to look for everything too. But we have this, we have refineries, yet, yummy.
Well, Lagos State has been, has been having a lot of fuel scarcity, since November 22nd, according to, the information that I picked up on one of the journalists on the ground in Lagos State. And he was more concerned as well. But it seems that the federal government is saying that we are putting everything and every measures in place. And we do know that the subsidy will be removed. And should the subsidy removed, it will become much harder. And it's going to bite a lot of Nigerians, in the long run. But today, more Nigerians are struggling to fuel, their vehicles, their small, a better pass your neighbor generator, and the Okada rider are also struggling. As the petrol scarcity across the country continue to linger, oil marketers have now accused the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited of politicizing the supply process and making vain promises. The oil marketers, under the aegis of Independent Petroleum Market Association of Nigeria, claim they had to get fuel despite the assurance from the managing director of the NNPCL Retail Hub, Stockman, in December that they will receive direct product supply at the government-regulated price of 148 naira per liter. And remember that the reason why they are getting that is because the government is also subsidizing it. But the government today is also saying that that subsidy would definitely not continue. It will have to wind down because it is actually costing, the federal government quite a lot of money, and they cannot afford, the subsidy anymore. But we would have to wait and see how and when this subsidy would eventually be removed and what will be the impact. But again, 18 ships is the next headline coming straight, has discharged petroleum product in Lagos port at the NPA, according to the headline this morning as well. The Nigerian Port Authority says 18 ships at the Lagos port are now discharging petrol, bulk of wheat, and the general cargo
gypsum, bulk of sugar. These are stuff that comes into Nigeria. You just tell that the country is not literally what a lot of us would have loved it to be. It has now become the joke because we have to import the sugar, the bulk of coal, automobile, gasoline, and the jet fuel because we have a lot of people that owns private jets in Nigeria, and they'll probably still want to travel around, and that means they must also consume a lot of jet fuel. So all these is part of the headline this morning. The authority says 16 other ships are expected to arrive the port between the 18th today and the 30th. And guess what they're going to be carrying? Frozen fish, containers, bulk of sugar again, general cargo, bulk of salt, base oil, and more petrol coming into the country, literally making the naira weaker and weaker. And that literally means that without producing some of these, let's give a reason why the Yorubas are saying that in Ondo State is almost as bigger than Norway that produce most of the stockfish that come into Nigeria. We could have also have the Ondo waterways where fishery would have feed a lot of part of not just the southwest, but most part of Nigeria. I was watching a video clip, maybe we get that ready tomorrow, of what a post office looks like in Lagos State in Ikoyi. It just literally looks like a kiosk around the corner when the person wanted to pick up a letter or whatever they were doing there. And these are reasons why Nigerians are saying, well, if this is not going to work, we bring in a new leader. But the indigenous people are saying, we might not bring in a new leader. It is time to dissolve Nigeria. That is part of the headline from the cargo and the petroleum. I'll come back again to you in the studio at exactly 29 minutes past. And when we come back now, we go straight into the little bit of the other headline. But for now, this is your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London, Starr Radio UK. I will come back now to you in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios, bringing you updates from Nigeria. I'm Archie here in the South studios, and we continue with the updates. Now, he who goes to equity might go with a clean hand, and that's what we see on the Sharia courts in the north, and the judgment and everything, killing people because somebody said that, and they're killing them. But a Sharia court judge has been arrested, and I was like, whoa, take it easy. I think this man is righteous more than Jesus or Muhammad, and they have been arrested. What about Yomi?
Well, they say nothing way Musa no go see for the gate, and that literally means that when you're a gate man, you will come across all sort of mixed bags in that as a megad. Yes, you're quite right. Sharia court that is meant to be there to serve the purpose, and you can see right there behind you as the engineer is adjusting the front there for us. Sharia court department complex, Kano State Judiciary, that is what it looks like. Maybe it could have been much better, but again, it's Africa, is in Kano, the northern part. But there's something that came up from there. Sharia court judges arrested and remanded for stealing 580 million naira. Wow. A Kano Chief Magistrate Court has now ordered that 2 Sharia court judges, a cashier, and 16 other financial register be remanded in the prison custody over alleged 580.2 million. And, well, you can't hide under the Sharia, neither can you hide under the religion. The story goes ahead and say the police have charged Bashir Kurawa, Sadiatu Umar, Tijani Abdullahi, Mariam Jubrin, Gaba Shamusi, Sani, and Hussein, an imam with 5 counts of criminal conspiracy, joint at criminal breach of trust by public servant, theft, and forgery. Others are also so many names that we can't just continue to name them. But February 1 has now been stated for hearing, according to the Prosecution Counsel, Kofa Meta, told the court that the Kano State Public Complaint and Anti-Corruption Commission received an official complaint from the State Ministry of Justice as far back as August 20, 2021. Well, it is not too late. As long as they are guilty, they will be served under the same Sharia, I guess. But if they are not guilty, then they'll probably be let go. But it seems that the defendant forged the signature of the 2 signatories, and the total amount there that was told went up to 500 million naira. This is Starr Radio UK, and that is some of the headlines yet still coming out of Nigeria in the Kano State, the northern part of Nigeria this morning. I'll return back again to you in the studio.
Okay, Yomi, just bring us the rest of the story, but that's quite an interesting one.
Well, let's quickly touch on some of the other headlines this morning as we continue. Why are you killing Christians in Nigeria? Trump asks Buhari while the president is receiving a peace award. A lot of Nigerians are concerned, whether the president has actually done or what receiving such an award. But who are we to judge those that believe that the president is doing enough to receive such an award? So the president, was actually giving us, part of what a discussion between himself and the former president, Joe Biden. President Muhammadu Buhari says, people hide under the canopy of religion to advance their economic and political agenda. Continuous education is needed so that the larger populace would not be hoodwinked. The president spoke in Mauritania Tuesday while meeting with Rashid Hussein, the United States ambassador at large for international religious, recounting his private meeting at the White House with the former president Donald Trump. The Nigerian president recalls Donald Trump asking him, "Why are you killing Christians in Nigeria?" and how he proceeded to tell him that the issue in the country was not religious, but rather criminal, and the usage of religion by some element of further their economic and sometimes political interest. And we see such of that so many times that, the politicians are also some of the reasons why all this happens in Nigeria. So let me take one more. We're going to go straight to the social media as well, and then we're going to come back again to you. A court has ordered a man to clean the mosque for accommodating a thief. Wow. The court ordered the convict to clean the Zuba Central Mosque for 6 months and also pay 20,000 naira fine, according to the headline there as well. All this is happening where? In Abuja. Mr. Ibrahim of Zuba Fruit Market, Abuja, pleaded guilty to belonging to a gang of thieves and begged the court for leniency. The judge, Salmanu Sulaiman, ordered the convict to clean the Zuba Central Mosque for 6 months. This again is, some of the reason why some of us are very, very skeptical. When you look at the name, it's definitely a northerner. The situation happened in Abuja. Will somebody steal 20,000 naira or something in Lagos State and we get this kind of leniency is something that we are not too sure of. But earlier, the prosecution counsel, Chinedu Ogada, told the court that the convict was arrested on information received from a reliable source who reported that the matter at the Zuba police station. Mr. Gaba said the source claimed that the convict accommodates thieves, sells hard drugs to them. After taking the drugs, they attack innocent citizen at Zuba. Well, he has now been given a bit of leniency under the provision of Section 30B of the Penal Code, according to the headline that we have there. Let's take one more from the, one of the headlines, and then I'm going to come back again now straight to the social media. Nigerians continue to lament poor circulation of the new Naira note. Remember that we were giving this beautiful Naira note presentation, by the president and the CBN, and that's the Naira note behind you there. So if you're still holding the old ones, I still have some of them. I'm not sure if I'll be able to change them in time, but definitely we see what we can do. But you still have, I believe, up to the 21st, before you hand over the old note for the new note. But the new note is also not in circulation on Starr Radio UK this morning. The Central Bank of Nigeria has said that it has released the newly redesigned Naira note into circulation, and even other banks to now start loading them on the automated teller machine known as the ATM with the note. But for reasons yet unknown, Nigerians seems not to be getting the note. Some Nigerians now share their frustration with the development in this headline. One of those who spoke is Mary Popwola, who said that although she has received the new note, she sometimes rejects them because they are not fully in. Imagine, the kind of, situation in Nigeria. She has actually received it, but she's rejecting it because it's still not yet in circulation. So I'm sure she's probably worried maybe there might be some counterfeit. Another person that responds is Moses Ebuka, lamented that the notes are not in circulation, even in the banks, and expressed concern about what to do with the deadline for phasing out of the old note is drawing closer. Joy Abara said she doesn't like the texture of the note, and Shegun Joseph has not had the opportunity to even touch the new note. Well, I don't know when I'm going to be touching it, but I'm sure maybe when my cousin is coming back, I might tell him to bring one. That is if Nigeria remain what it is. Let me now quickly go to what is happening on the social media this morning. Once again, good morning to those of you that